Hi everybody, Jim Graham here for the Outhousers.com and the Outhousers YouTube channel, and once again this is the weekly Chirp vlog, and I will take you through what I purchased this week in comics, and looking what I purchased this week, 4 different issues from Marvel. And first up I will review Nova 6. Nova number 6 by Zeb Wells and Paco Medina, and this is the first issue with Wells and Medina providing the writing and the main art for this series, taking over for Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness, who started this new rendition of Nova with Sam Alexander taking the throne of Nova. And this issue picks up about 1 month after Sam encountered Titus, a former Supernova himself, now turned with the Chitauri forces, and of course they had the battle over the ultimate nullifier, and Sam ended up using it to get rid of Titus and a impending Chitauri armada heading for Earth. So after that, I did not read these team-up issues, or I don't know if this is just alluding to something that he just did and it wasn't actually in the Avengers, but he alludes to helping out the Avengers and doing some stuff with the Phoenix Force, which I think may go back to AVX, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Someone probably will comment below and tell me all that. But anyways, it alludes to him doing stuff with the Avengers, and he's been gone for several weeks from his home in Arizona, and Thor asked him to be a member of the Avengers, and of course his mom is standing in his way, telling him not to go off with the Avengers, but try to be home and whatnot. So in this issue, we kind of see what Sam's been up to, and he's kind of learned to control his powers a little bit. Now he just has to learn to balance his life as Nova, being a superhero, and of course being a teenage kid. In this particular issue, it was kind of setting up the next art. I still thought it was fun. There was a lot of cool moments in there where Sam's still, figuring out his powers and whatnot, some great interactions with his mom, but so far so good for the new team of Wells and Medina. Next up from July the 17th is Thor God of Thunder number 10, written by Jason Aaron with art from Izad Ribic. And looking at issue number 10, it is the 4th part of the God Bomb saga, where Gore the God Butcher has been finally trying to release his massive God Bomb, and spoiler alert, he at least sets it off. We don't see whether or not it works or if it goes off or destroys all the gods, but he eventually does set the God Bomb finally to implode explode rather, after so many years of putting this thing together. And at one point, the present Thor actually picks up 2 Mjolnirs, which is pretty awesome. And also Thor's granddaughters are getting into the mix to try to stop Gore from letting the God Bomb go off. And Gore kind of goes against himself. He not only maybe rushes things a little bit, he also kills his wife, who then praises him as a god. And he definitely has a complex within himself, and you kind of see that come out by him killing his wife, and that was very interesting. And his offspring, one of his children, ends up turning on him and helping Thor out, and it's a very interesting kind of twist, as Gore was kind of building up everything and kind of building up a family, kind of getting back the life that he wanted before he went on this whole rampage of killing gods, and somehow ends up being a god almost to himself, and building up himself and this whole planet, trying to build this God Bomb as a god. So he definitely has a problem, and definitely you see a different side to him just simply going out and getting revenge. He definitely has something wrong with him, and the Thors are trying their best to stop him, and maybe he'll realize what he's been doing has been wrong. And gods, however you want to interpret them in any type of religion, they're not always a bad thing, and who's to say they aren't a bad thing? And this kind of goes into that a little bit, with Gore kind of questioning himself, maybe, or at least his family questioning him in this issue. And I think it's another well-written issue by Jason Aaron. The art, again, fantastic by Mr. Ribic, and really can't wait for the God Bomb Part 5. Speaking of fun, Deadpool number 13 came out this week, July the 17th, with writing by Jerry Duggan and Brian Posehn. And this is the second flashback issue we've seen in this series. We had issue 7, flashback to the 80s, where Deadpool was trying to help, or not help, Tony Stark, and he ended up turning on a demon by the name of Vetus, which set up the most recent arc that just finished here with Deadpool battling a demon from hell. And I'm assuming that this flashback issue will also set up the next arc of Deadpool. But nevertheless, here in issue 13, as you can kind of see on the cover, or maybe you can't, but anyways, it does say Talkin' Jive and Taking Lives, as Deadpool is back in the 70s, teaming up with the Power Man and Iron Fist, the Heroes for Hire, on a mission, helping out the folks there in New York, and Deadpool's trying his best to fit in with Iron Fist and Power Man, much to the chagrin of mainly Power Man, and Iron Fist definitely tries his best to unleash the power of the Iron Fist, but it gets short a couple times because of Deadpool, and Deadpool even changed his name to Dead Pip at one point, and it's very funny. Just about every issue of Deadpool is pretty funny in its own way, but I really enjoyed this issue. It was a lot of fun. I really like Power Man and Iron Fist and the Heroes for Hire thing, so for Deadpool to kind of come back and kind of throw a monkey wrench into their normal plans there back in the 70s and the whole Afro thing, I thought this was great, and hopefully it'll set up some more Deadpool team up with the Power Man and Iron Fist in issue 14. And my last issue from Marvel on July the 17th was Avengers Assemble number 17, written by Kelly Sue DeConnick. And this is part 4 of 5 in The Enemy Within, chronicling the struggles of Captain Marvel, aka Carol Danvers, and she is still battling the Kree sentries that have been reactivated on Earth by Yon-Rogg, and they're trying their best, the Avengers along with Captain Marvel, to destroy these Kree sentries, but these Kree sentries are very strong. If you've ever seen any stuff from Marvel with the Kree or with Captain Marvel, or when she was Miss Marvel, the Kree are very powerful, and especially those sentries, so they're not so easy to take out, even with the Avengers trying to take them out. And eventually, Carol realizes that the brain lesion has something to do with Yon-Rogg, and Yon-Rogg getting to Carol through that lesion. That's kind of how he's getting to her, not just simply through all these plans and stuff that he's devised. So we're going to finally see her attack Yon-Rogg, who has now changed his name to Magnetron, and we're going to see her and the Avengers try to stop Yon-Rogg now that he's this new powerful force collecting these fragments and trying to get back what Carol took from the Psych Magnetron device. And I think this issue had some good stuff in it, but again, a setup to the final conclusion. And I think that final conclusion is going to pay off. It's in a pretty good crossover series between the Avengers Assemble and, of course, Captain Marvel. And we'll see all the conclusion come up, I believe, next week or in the next 2 weeks with Captain Marvel. And this has been a great job by Kelly Sue DeConnick in a very great series being Captain Marvel. Well, that's it for the weekly Chirp this week. Once again, I am Jim Graham. You can follow me on Twitter at Jim Graham. You can also follow the Outhousers on Twitter at the Outhousers. And of course, check out for the latest comic book and pop culture related news and of course some great satire at theouthousers.com. Please subscribe, remember to share the video, and comment below. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.